Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. Today we are swatching together my Earthy Yellows from Yellow Ochre to Raw Sienna or other similar colors. As you see, I have paint from Cotman, Rembrandt, Daniel Smith. I also have pans of these colors from Lukas, Rosa Gallery and White Nights. Let's swatch them together and see which one are the most beautiful. Hi, I'm Elisabetta, an Italian watercolor artist with a passion for art supplies. I always buy some colors when I find some special offers, coupons or sales, and then I like to swatch them together with you. Let's start swatching now. The first color we are swatching is Yellow Ochre by Lukas. It is in this 48 half pound set that I have reviewed in a previous video. You see that Yellow Ochre is very often very opaque, but this Yellow Ochre by Lukas, in my opinion, is very glowing and has very nice dispersion on water, and it's a beautiful yellow ochre. But let's go to next one, which is White Nights. White Nights, I also have it in a full pan from this set that I use quite often. White Nights re-wet very easily. I find that this Yellow Ochre is much less opaque than other brands. This is made with the PY43, which is the natural yellow ochre pigment, yellow iron oxide, the natural version, whereas the PY42, the one used by Lukas, is a synthetic equivalent of the same pigments. Many brands use either PY42 or PY43 or both. Let's go with this White Night. White Night is well known for transparency of colors and vibrancy. This is very transparent, maybe not so pigmented as other brands. I try to put more pigment here, but as Yellow Ochre is always so opaque, I don't find it this a drawback. Actually, in this version of Yellow Ochre, PY43 is mixed with a yellow pigment, which is PY154, which is the same pigment used by Winsor Newton in Winsor Yellow. Then we go to Cotman, which is the, let's put some here. Cotman is the student grade range by Winsor Newton, and it's the top of student range. So they use basically the same pigments that they use for professional range, but in a smaller concentration. But look at how pigmented this is. It's very opaque, but very vibrant. And here it is, the Cotman. This is a Yellow Ochre that I have used since the beginning of my watercolor journey. And it works perfectly fine for me. It's pigmented, opaque, the perfect Yellow Ochre. The White Nights, you see, is different from the other ones because it has yellow inside, but I think it's a nice result because it's more yellow and more glowing. But let's go on with Paul Rubens. I have Paul Rubens in a tube that I squeezed in pens. They re-wet quite easily. And in some version it's called Mars Yellow because it's the pigment PY42, the synthetic version. And I think this yellow ochre is very beautiful. It's very vibrant. It's slightly opaque, but not so opaque as other ones. And it's very nice. I like it a lot. It's the Paul Rubens tube. Then we go to Yellow Ochre by Paul Rembrandt. Here it is. A dot. No. Okay. Rembrandt is my go-to brand. I have many tubes from Rembrandt because I find that they're always of excellent quality and at a reasonable price. The result is always satisfying. This Rembrandt Yellow Ochre, it's a mixture of the two pigments PY43 and PY42. The result is a very nice vibrant yellow ochre. I must say that when I see them one by the other ones, you see all the differences that you don't notice when you use them on their own. Let's go to Rosa Gallery. Rosa Gallery is this set that I recently bought and reviewed. Rosa Gallery is a very beautiful, outstanding brand, watercolor brand with some peculiarity. It re-wets very easily. It's very vibrant, but it has an incredible flow on paper. So sometimes you need to lay down more layers before you get the effect that you want, because it dilutes so beautifully. So look at how beautiful this yellow ochre is. It just glows. And this is the first row. Let's go to raw siennas. The first raw sienna that we revise is by White Nights, and it's made with PBR7, which is natural iron oxide. Is a pigment that is often used for burnt sienna or even for burnt umber. It depends very much on the treatment of the pigment. In this case is raw sienna, and is one of my favorite color. I often prefer raw siennas to white ochres because raw sienna is usually more transparent. By the way, Rosa Gallery was also using PY43 and PY42, just like Rembrandt, a mix of the two. So we have swatched raw sienna by White Nights. I prefer raw sienna when it is slightly more yellowish, but this one is also very nice by White Nights. Let's try now the raw sienna version by Schminke. Small dot. Okay, this is the version of Schminke. It's a very transparent, slightly more yellowish version because it's a mixture of yellow ochre and PBR7. You see, they also have some yellow ochres, PY43 in it, and I think it gives a glowing effect that I really like. So this is the raw sienna that I prefer over the White Nights that doesn't use PY43. Same with Rosa Gallery. Rosa Gallery is mixing PBR7 with PY42. So they're always mixing some yellow ochre in it. This gives some transparency, but I still prefer the Schminke. It's more glowing compared to the Rosa Gallery, which is slightly duller. Let's go now to one of my favorite versions of raw sienna, which is Monte Amiata Natural Sienna by Daniel Smith. This is PBR7, but the source of pigment is in Italy, on Monte Amiata, which is a mountain in Tuscany. Look at the wonderful gold reflection that you see. It's almost a quinacridone gold. It's really beautiful. What do you think of this paint? I think it's a wonderful raw sienna. It's my favorite. It's the one that I use more often. It's my go-to raw sienna. Now, Yellow Sienna by Paul Rubens. It says Y42, but I think there is a mistake, because that doesn't look at all like a PY42. I think it's a PBR7. I have noticed that Paul Rubens paint, despite the fact that they are usually very beautiful and vibrant, often have mistakes in pigments. Don't ask me why, but this is not a yellow. It says PY42, so I have included it in this collection, but I don't think it is a PY42. But let's wait until it dries. And then we start with the gold ochres, and we have Lukas. Okay, Lukas Gold Ochre is one of my least favorite colors in this set of Lukas. It's made with Yellow Ochre, PY42, red iron oxide, PR101, and then some black. And maybe because of the black, I think it's dull. I don't like this gold ochre. I think it's slightly dull, especially when it dries. You'll see, I don't use it very much. Compared to other glowing paints that I have on this piece of paper, I don't think this is one of my favorite. It's a pity because Lukas is one of my go-to brands, but this gold ochre, not my favorite. Another version of gold ochre, this time by Rembrandt. Rembrandt, where is it? Rembrandt, you see, uses both PY43 and PY42 for yellow ochre, but then it uses single pigments PY43 for this gold ochre. And we'll see which one we like better. Maybe this one is more glowing, but it's wet now. We'll see. Still opaque, masked on. And I think this is very beautiful, this gold ochre. This is probably a bit duller with a worse dispersion on paper. The yellow ochre, the gold ochre has a better dispersion, but we'll compare them later. Then I have a color, spinel brown, which is, I have included it because it has a yellow pigment, PY119. It is in between yellow and light brown, but I thought I could include it because when diluted, it has a yellowish undertone. You see, it's a light brown, and I think it's a very beautiful color. And when it is diluted, it's wonderful, by Schminke. And look at how nice it is. I like it very much. Then we go back to Rembrandt. Rembrandt also uses PY42, the second possibility in yellow ochre, for its transparent oxide yellow color. There is a slight color separation here. So both pigments in yellow ochre, PY43 in gold ochre, and in transparent yellow oxide, only PY42, the transparent pigment. and maybe I have put a lot of pigment, but let's water it down. It's transparent, but it's more brownish. It's beautiful, but it's different. It's more, I don't know, it's more on the brownish side, but it has a nice color separation, and I think it's a nice color. It's transparent in any case. Then we have Yellow Ochre by Professional Winsor Newton. In Cotman they use PY42. I've put it here because I didn't remember I had it. But recently there was a sale, Winsor & Newton sale on Jackson, so I bought it. So they use a different pigment compared to Cotman. Let's see the effect. So pigmented. It's incredible that the color like a Yellow Ochre that seems very much the same in all brands, two pigments, has such a difference from one brand to the other. And this one from Winsor & Newton is wonderful. It's so rich and warm. I really like it. I have some left space, so I've also included some Quinacridone Gold. Okay, let's start from Schminke. Quinacridone Gold by Schminke. Wow. This is made with the PY 150 and PR 101, which is red iron oxide. This is a color that for me it's compulsory in a palette because it makes wonderful greens, wonderful oranges. It's beautiful on its own. Look at the difference between mastone with all the brown and the yellow when it is watered down. I think this color is wonderful and everyone should have it in his palette. And this is the version by Schminke. Then I have a version by Sennelier. I hope there is no color separation. Yes, a little there is. So maybe I should dry this, use a toothpick, and then I'll be back. Okay, I have used a toothpick to mix my pigments inside the tube. And this is Sennelier, which has a slightly different formula. They have PR 101 and PY 150 exactly as Quinacridone Gold, but they also have a touch of red called PR 206. So they have a more reddish pigment, and I think that the result is absolutely wonderful and slightly different from Schminke, but not less beautiful. Quinacridone Gold, whichever is the brand, when you find it, buy it because it's an incredible addition to your watercolor palette. Then I have added in the bottom Quinacridone Gold by White Knights, but they call it Indian Gold. But the formula is exactly the same. Okay, so I have opened the tube and let's see what it gives, if it is comparable to this more prestigious professional brand. And yes, it's very beautiful. Indian Gold, it's exactly a Quinacridone Gold. It's so beautiful. And I strongly recommend one of these three. Last but not least, I have just bought from Daniel Smith this Aussie Red Gold, which I was curious to try. Here it is, which is made with the PY83, a yellow, PR101, red iron oxide, and quinacridone violet or quinacridone red, which is PV19. And let's see if, yes, it has some obvious yellow. It reminds slightly of quinacridone gold, but it's far more reddish. Doesn't have the same color separation that you get in quinacridone gold. Let's water it down. But if you really water it down, you see the yellow coming out. It's maybe more an orange. So I should have included in my orange swatching, but it's beautiful. Let's wait for this to dry and then I'll be back. Let's start with the yellow ochres in this raw, plus this Winsor Newton. They're all very opaque, as they should be, with the exception of the Yellow Ochre by Rosa Gallery, the Ukrainian brand, which I like so much. This is absolutely transparent, and it is also very pigmented, even when dry. I must say that the Rembrandt one has less flow on paper, maybe, or maybe it was me, I don't know. I also like the White Nights because of this yellow addition. It's nice. Lukas is very nice. Now that I see it with the other ones, I like the Cotman one slightly less. This was my go-to yellow ochre, but I must say that now that I see all these beautiful yellow ochres, I might stop using it and replace it maybe with the Yellow Ochre by Winsor Newton. The Paul Rubens is also very nice. So I will say that in general, they're all very beautiful. Then we go to the raw siennas. The absolute winner of the raw siennas is Montamiata by Daniel Smith. It's very similar to the Yellow Ochre by Paul Rubens, but it's much more transparent. This is opaque. But generally speaking, I like also Schminke very much, less the Rosa Gallery. And the White Nights is not so glowing as the other ones. Let's go to Gold Ochre. Gold Ochre, Lukas is, I don't like it, it's a bit ugly. Whereas the Rembrandt one is very, very nice. I probably prefer this Gold Ochre to the standard Yellow Ochre. Then we have the Spinel Brown by Schminke, but it's a lovely color, but it's absolutely not a yellow, so it shouldn't be here. The transparent yellow oxide is granulating, which is a surprise. So I think that it would be a good mixing color. It's also transparent. In the next video, I will try mixing some of these colors with blue or red to see what they give once mixed. The Winsor Newton Yellow Ochre is outstanding. And then we have the Quinacridone Golds. They're all very, very beautiful. Maybe in the Schminke and White Nights version, we have more difference between more color variation, and you see color separation better than in the Sennelier one, but they're all very beautiful. And then we have this wonderful Aussie Red Gold. It shouldn't stay here because it doesn't belong to this collection, but it's very, very beautiful. It's definitely an orange. Okay, I hope you have liked this video. I hope it was somehow useful. And if you like my videos, don't hesitate to like and subscribe. And ciao from Italy. I'll see you in my next review. Ciao.